first and say all praises, glory and honor to Yahweh, Bashem Al-Shah, Bashem Gabdash, and the Devon to say others, and teach great wisdom from learning truth, and say Shalom to the hopeful of Israel. And concern this on the new virus, lockdown 2.0. It says Canarians worry arrival of hantavirus cruise ship will bring repeated COVID quarantines. And here we go again. Run it back. Round 2. See if I can find another article to go into this, because just like how you had the first virus of the pandemic that came over here to America on a cruise ship, you have pandemic lockdowns 2.0, and this sparks fears for obviously another lockdown. And this is already told, it's the same thing. I wonder how people are going to react this time, right? But U.S. Center for Disease Control and Prevention is dispatching staffers to meet with American passengers on the hantavirus-stricken cruise ship in Canary Islands. While health authorities across several countries race to contain the outbreak, which so far led to 5 confirmed and several possible cases of the virus, concern shifting to what will happen when the MV Hondias docks in Tenerife, the largest of Spain's Canary Islands. Ship expected to arrive. Tenerife support Grandalia in the early hours of Sunday. May, its operator Oceanwide Expedition said Friday the company cautioned that it is subject to change. See if I want to keep reading here, because the article's probably long as fuck. And, some American people likely got this. And, hey, once again, this is obviously, most likely another machination of so-called white man in order to force people, to force his new world order in. And when people talked about this during the first pandemic, they were called conspiracy theories until those so-called conspiracy theories turned out to be true. That the virus was fake. Well, it wasn't fake. It was man-made. And that with the stimulus checks and whatnot, it ushered in, not the downfall of the economy, but it moved the economy a lot closer to its end. And the big reason why you have so much inflation now on top of those, fucked up oil prices is because of all of that money that was printed with those stimulus checks. And, the world economy, because, for 5 or 6 years, all fresh, I say relatively fresh, off of a fucked up, economy and fucked up supply chain. You have all this health niggas talking about how the minds of the people never really recovered from that. That the world changed, that Americans pretty much changed because, the punk asses couldn't handle not fucking going to a goddamn bar for 2 years. The world economy, especially America, keeps getting hit with big fucking blows, and it's one after the other. Now, the CDC team has been dispatched to meet returning American passengers in Nebraska. One source said passengers are expected to be placed in quarantine as part of the effort to ensure the virus does not have a chance to spread. 2 sources said Nebraska is home to the National Quarantine Unit, federally funded quarantine facility, as well as the Nebraska Biocontainment Unit. But I think it was Bill Gates that said how they had to prepare for the next virus. Those words literally came out of his mouth. Well, when you think about that, that logically doesn't make any sense. Because sure, you can obviously expect a disease would pop up here and there, but He sounded like it was an inevitability that disease would happen, that a disease would pop up. You also had tons of millionaires that turned into billionaires and trillionaires, from the pandemic and whatnot, just lining their pockets from, various different ways of making money. Meanwhile, the rest of the people just fucking drowned. Niggas lost businesses. Niggas lost, occupations. Niggas were injected with poison. There's for a little while you had a little trend of niggas online talking about how they got Tourette's and shit and how they were never the same when they got that bullshit injected into them. And once again, this is just another gut punch, knocking the wind out of America and the world. And this is why, we continue to preach. This is why we continue to ignore the naysayers. Because, people can talk shit all they want, but all of these things continue to move forward nonetheless. This is why we say seek the Lord. Because in the moment, that to the average nigga may not seem like anything's happening, but you have these different things brewing. And then out of nowhere, something crazy happens. For example, gas prices, $4, damn near $5, over $5 in some areas, probably over $6 in other areas. Out of nowhere, within about less than a month, gas prices went from like $2 to $4, literally doubled, literally fucking doubled. And it happened out of nowhere, And now people are stuck, stuck with those fucking gas prices. I noticed that I personally drive slow, obviously for safety reasons and whatnot. I'm not a crazy driver, boring driver, but people are a lot more irritable, more quick to blow the horn at you instead of just going around. But and not just with driving, but just life in general. People are a lot more irritated, and this is only going to add fuel to that fire. And this is something that we've been telling you. And all of this is to the end of collapsing the global economy and instilling a new order. This shit is actually happening. Psalm 64:2. Hide me from the secret counsel of the wicked, from the inspiration of the workers of iniquity. That's referring to the niggas who call themselves the top echelon, the elite, which the so-called white man, there's nothing elite about them. He wraps himself in fancy garbs, clothing. He has a lot of money, but he's nothing more than a nigga. Because niggas can have a lot of money too and still be a lowly nigga, a dirty, grimy nigga. The white man's the same. All these banking families, all these banking family niggas, they're just niggas. There's nothing special about those fuckers. They just have a lot of money. That's it. And jump down to verse 5. They incur themselves in the evil matter. They commune of laying snares privily. They say, who shall see them? And what does that sound like? Niggas making plans to do shit behind closed doors in the dark. What is that widely known as? The Illuminati. Having secret meetings. Bohemian Grove. All of these goddamn fucking Epstein Island. Jekyll Island. All of these things that were done behind the backs of the people under the cover of night. Plenty of times, actual night and metaphorical night. Out of the public's eye. Verse 6, they search out iniquities, they accomplish diligent search, but the inward thought of one of them of the heart is deep, and the heart is deep. Making plans to obviously, collapse the economy, coming up with all these different ways to do it and to push the world closer to that. And I'm watching A Handmaid's Tale for the first time, and those of you who've seen it, you know what the show is, but I haven't finished it yet. I was just going back and forth with a chat model on pretty much the top, little some questions I had of what's going on, and pretty much something that the chat model mentioned is how it took over, how the world pretty much took, what's these niggas, these Gilead niggas. I think that's the name of like their city or some shit, or that's the name of the organization. How they took over. And the chat model mentioned how they use gradualism to pretty much take over the government. And people thought that somebody would do something about it because it mentioned how the president was assassinated. I got to look up the lore of it, but like I said, I just asked ChatGPT like what the fuck is going, how did the shit get to this point? But they pretty much took over the United States government, killed the president, took over the military, and next thing you know, froze women's bank accounts, and here they are in motherfucking chains, right? A bunch of incel niggas. But it mentioned how gradualism. And I asked it something along the lines of is this how a takeover would realistically happen? In the real world, and it mentioned yes, how gradualism would be used to slowly do certain things to usher in that end goal of whatever the organization wanted. And I instantly thought of what we see going on here in our world, because something was mentioned is how the people would pretty much, they wouldn't do anything themselves. They would hope and wait for somebody else to do something, but that help would never come. They would have to do it themselves, but they wouldn't. So now that this new world order is here, now that these Gilead niggas are here, pretty much everybody pretty much has to just get down and get laid the fuck down, because everybody sat around thinking that, hey, the government was a self-correcting system, that it was going to fix itself, which it isn't. But that just shows you the faith that the people have in America. And once again, you have the so-called white man that is using gradualism, which is slowly implementing different things, pressure testing things, see how people react, and then implementing these things in such a manner that, the people, they get micro dosages of these various different policies and changes in society and societal norms and social norms and whatnot. And they use some type of celebrity to do it, or some type of fucking trend. And few months later, a few years later, it's something that's normalized, such as the word partner, right? A few years ago, you had people using the term boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, and wife. Now you have niggas using the term partner all over the motherfucking place, right? That's a small example. People getting used to social distancing. People had to get used to that for a little while. Using cash, right? Store I usually go to. I don't really go to it too much often now, but just went to it after probably like a month of not being there. All the fucking self checkouts are card only. They used to be cash just a few months. Like last time I was there, it was probably like a month and a half ago, maybe. Went there yesterday or like the day before, and I think it was yesterday, and that was card only. But over the course of a few years, they've had some of those terminals that were card only. Now all of them are card only. So just a few small examples of gradualism, pushing people towards the end result that he wants. And we're able to see these things and understand these things. That's why we all you people wonder, why is it they so steadfast in what you believe in, yada yada yada, blah blah blah. This type of shit is the reason why. Because at every turn we continue to turn out to be fucking correct. So why in God's name, on God's green earth, will we then turn around and side with any of you fucking idiots who don't know your left foot from your fucking right? And I believe that it says that literally in the scriptures. You don't know your left hand from your right, if I'm not mistaken. You niggas don't know what's happening. You don't know what's coming or going. All you dumbasses went and got that damn shit injected into you. Not knowing what it is, even though they said that these niggas created this shit in a few fucking within a year. That's not how inoculations work. But they also said it was an experiment. And you dumbasses took that shit. That's why all of you stupid niggers, all you people who like to talk shit, that's why we don't concern ourselves with any of you. Because you dumb niggas literally don't know what the fuck you're doing. Most of you can't even balance your pocketbook correctly. So no damn sure you don't know what you're talking about when it comes to the scriptures. I don't care how fucking decorated your goddamn resume is. That's not how it works. Vast majority of you people are fucking idiots. And that's not an insult. That's an actual verifiable fact. This next generation of little niggas that you people are raising, these stupid motherfuckers can't read. And who did they learn that from? Their stupid ass fucking parents. You dumb niggas. 2 Corinthians 15:1. Behold, speak down in the ears of my people, the words of prophecy which I put in their mouth, said the Lord. Speak in the ears of his people the words of prophecy. All of these things, verse 2, and cause them to be read in paper, for they're faithful and true. They're going to happen. They've always happened. It doesn't make like when you can do research in history, and you can parallel these things with the scriptures. They've all happened. So why would it not happen now? That doesn't make sense if they've always happened. Fear not the imaginations against these. Let not the incredulity of them trouble you to speak against thee. For the unfaithful shall die in their unfaithfulness. All those people who didn't believe, who didn't like Yahushua told them to flee to the mountains during 70 AD. All of those people who didn't do that, what happened? Them niggas fucking died. Who ran into the temple, they fucking burned. It doesn't matter whether or not they believed. They still died all the fucking same. Jeremiah was prophesying of our people going under Babylonian captivity. You had niggas who may have sided with Hananiah. I think his name was Hananiah or Hananiah. I think it was Hananiah. Who said that, hey, we wouldn't go into slavery. What happened? Them niggas went straight into motherfucking captivity under Babylon. It didn't matter what they fucking believed. And Hananiah died, I think, like 2 or 3 years later, by the way. I think it's 3 or 4 years later after that. After that incident with Jeremiah. Verse 5, behold, says the Lord, bring plagues upon the world, sword, famine, death, and destruction. And people pretty much got way worse after the first pandemic. Now, from what it's looking like, we might have another round of motherfucking lockdowns. And when this happens, that's going to be game motherfucking over. If it's to the same degree of the first pandemic, or worse, that's it. That's a motherfucking wrap. You niggas are, well, I am finished. You niggas are finished. Verse 11. But the people who were good were those who believed in the Lord. And sure, it's a physical fight, but more than anything, it's a mental and spiritual one. So, the people were they were fucked up physically, but the real damage was done mentally. And these average everyday niggas, they thrive on being social, on going to clubs, on stunting on niggas, or what. I'm not sure what niggas do. I don't hang around niggas. But so whatever niggas do, like I guess clubs and fucking buying fancy cars and shit, they thrive on all of that. Or on finding a whore at the club to take home for the night. They thrive on that. But once the clubs get shut down, all this other shit gets shut down, what happened? Them little punk ass niggas were losing their goddamn minds. I actually enjoyed it, There's nothing like driving on an open road at 12 p.m. in the afternoon. Nothing like it, man. The whole road to myself. It was enjoyable. Verse 11, but I'll bring them with the mighty hand and stretch out arm and smite Egypt with plagues as before and destroy the land thereof. And how the Lord destroyed Egypt the first time, it was a process of him breaking the place apart, brick by proverbial brick. Same thing with America. The place is slowly falling apart. And once again, if this pandemic actually turns out to be something as big as COVID or bigger, then that's just going to be another gut punch, knocking more wind out of this fucking place. Another piece of that foundation taken away till the thing collapses under its own weight. You shall mourn, and the foundation of it shall be smitten with the plague and punishment. Yahweh shall bring it. They that mourn till the ground shall mourn, for their seed shall fail through blasting in hell, and with a fearful consolation. Woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for sword and destruction draweth nigh, and one people stand up to fight against another with swords in their hands. And that's what you see going on now. People become more violent towards one another. More, people have no problem killing their fellow patriot, their brother, their sister. People's hearts have become way fucking colder. Way colder. But mention how, they till the ground shall mourn. You saw an article last week going to how farmers are having a big fucking problem, with, farming, agriculture. If I remember correctly, Trump took away funding from that whole agriculture program, some shit like that, or they can't get funding or some shit. Which that's food. All of your food in your stores, your supermarkets, that comes from farming. Those niggas don't have the proper funding they need, supplies, whatnot. You niggas don't fucking eat. Whether it's motherfucking some canned shit or some fucking some goddamn shit in a damn packet that you can pour in the water and heat up. You got some food. And if none of that is delivered, none of that is grown, none of you people fucking eat. Well, y'all can eat, but y'all gonna have to turn into cannibals. Verse 18, for because the pride of the city shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. And this is going to inject trouble, but even now, people think that America can't too big to fail. But what happens when it does fail? And it is failing. People think that America is a self-correcting system, that everything's going to be okay. Willfully ignorant to the truth. That all this shit is falling apart right from under you. And the men, those so-called crazy niggas in dresses on the highways and byways that you people like to talk shit about, they've been talking about this for decades. And even before us. We read out of this book of the prophets that came before us. Another piece of proof is Ezekiel 37 with Magog, which is Russia, making a formal announcement that they're supporting Iran in a war. And when you go into the next few verses, it mentions how Russia, which sits on the landmass of Gog, they're a guard unto Persia, which is Iran, Ethiopia, and Libya, Turkey, Armenia, all those other countries in that, all those smaller nations within that area. When you go into that, Russia has close business ties and interests with those very same nations, and especially when it comes to Persia, Ethiopia, and Libya. Especially Persia, which is Iran. They announced formally that they're not only do they have dealings and ties with them, but they've been helping them in this war since it started. If I remember correctly, it was since it started, with intel on U.S. movement and with weapons. And that's in the Bible. That's in the scriptures. That's a clear-cut, simple way of, to say like, well, who has the truth? Well, take a look right there. That's actually happening. It's playing out in front of your fucking faces. This is why we say seek Yahweh Shema Shai, because all this shit, because this virus came out of nowhere. The war, the gas prices, they came out of fucking nowhere. The pandemic, it came out of fucking nowhere. All of these big events that push America closer and closer, to push us closer to the end, they keep popping up seemingly out of nowhere under everybody's fucking radar when nobody's paying attention. Then one day you look up and you see a fucking article about some virus. Fucking the niggas who got the virus, they done pulled them niggas back into America. What's going on? And then next thing you know, the numbers of people getting infected go up. And now everybody goes to the store trying to get a Bible. A Bible is just a book, you know? It's the words of the Lord, but when it come down to it, the book itself won't save you. It's the Lord who gives you understanding to understand the book. Because plenty of people have the Bible, but plenty of people don't understand the Bible. The Lord isn't working with them to understand the Bible. It's about the spirit that that the Lord has on you. But if you don't have the spirit, put down the Bible and go smoke some shit, because you're wasting your time. That's pretty much it. Hope that made sense. Y'all praise the glory and honor. How about you, Masha, Dash? The Bible says, "Positive teacher, and minister, but truly, shall want to hold Israel, instruction, battle, great America."